Is it worth studying at University of West London and Academy of Music and Sound? Hi, I'm BKWR, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts as a former student learning through the Academy of Music and Sound, which is a partnership school with the University of West London. I've been studying a Music and Sound bachelor's degree top-up, which is a one-year degree. And I'm also going to briefly talk you through what was going on throughout the year. In order to make it very simplified, I will split this video into 3 different chapters. Chapter 1 will be the application process. Chapter 2 will be schooling and learning. We're going to briefly discuss the modules and what was going on there. And the chapter 3 will be the graduation ceremony and what happens after. All right, let's just jump right into it. Chapter 1, application process. I was studying online from Poland, so I'm a foreign student. The application process will probably vary depending on what degree are you applying for. The whole application process was pretty smooth and easy. I would say that it was one of the nicest ones I've ever been through, especially thanks to the person that was guiding me through it. I was asked to write both an essay and present all the necessary documents and all the other necessary stuff that were needed. If I would have one advice for you, it would be actually to be very prepared. No matter if you're going to be studying law or maybe something related to the music like I was, or maybe some other degree that you would want to go for, the first and most important thing, at least in my opinion, is to be a master at writing essays, especially at academic writing and the whole Harvard referencing. If you're not really feeling it and not really fluent at that, the biggest advice I could actually give you is to take some time off before applying for the degree and learn how to handle all that stuff, so the whole process will be a lot easier for you and more fluent. I don't ever remember having problems with writing essays. It was always a strong side of mine, but it might be different in your case. So if it is something that you're struggling with, and if I were you, I would very much take this as a really good advice. It's coming from my heart, so I hope you're going to take it because it will make your life easier. Other than that, there are not really many things I could say about the application process because I just wanted to share my thoughts on how it all went through briefly. So that will close the first chapter. Chapter 2, schooling and the learning process. Each one of us were assigned to a specific mentor who was guiding us throughout the studying process. My mentor was Misha. So Misha, if you're watching this, I want you to know that you've done a really good job and I'm sending you a lot of positive vibes from Gdańsk, Poland. If it comes to the University of West London, I feel like it is very much about the diversity. And you know, we're all humans, right? Sometimes we're having some issues or something like that. I was working my butt off for this degree. I really wanted to get the first class honors. And even though I was struggling with a lot of health issues and also I was moving out throughout the year because I needed to move out to a different flat, and I ended up in the hospital because of some internal bodily organ problems. And even so, I didn't feel excluded for anything like that. I really felt the support from all the university staff and my mentor. If your values align with the diversity, being tolerant and stuff like that, I feel like the University of West London is actually the way to go. The schooling process, the learning process, the module study guides, even if we, for example, lost track on something, but we chose a specific module, we could have always opened the PDF with the module study guide. It guided us through what we needed to do very specifically, so this was a big thumbs up. I would say that the biggest downside was the learning platform, unfortunately, on the Academy of Music and Sound. In my opinion, it could have been a little bit better. It wasn't bad, but it was buggy at times, and sometimes it was pretty hard to find some stuff that you were looking for. I guess it's like the very, very minor downside. They could have been probably made maybe a little bit differently, but other than that, I've really got no complaints about anything. Also, if it comes to the University of West London's side, the whole library and the student portal, that's pretty good. And so I had no issues about that whatsoever. We had 5 different modules that we needed to go through. The most important one being the level 6 project. If it comes to the modules, we had some kind of a flexibility. We could have chosen whether or not we wanted to go for the music production route, maybe radio production route, maybe performance. In my case, one of the modules was also the music and sound for film, which I really found very fascinating and inspiring. As you can see behind me, and sorry for the mess because I'm in the middle of recording an audiobook. There are some sweets and stuff like that to keep me going, but I've got a pretty big belly, so sorry about that. But as you can see, I've got a modular synthesizer and I really like playing with it. I like to actually find a lot of like different textures in music and experiment with the sound in like very unique ways. My favorite module was actually the music and sound for film. I very much enjoyed that. It gave me this kind of freedom and space to experiment with the sounds and all that. I didn't really struggle with any academic writing whatsoever. It wasn't very much a challenge for me. I'm 100% gonna sound like I'm a ego top or someone who is like thinking he's the best or whatever, but trust me, I do not feel this way. All my grades throughout the school, especially the grading of my essays, whether or not I was in the primary school, high school, I've always had the top grades if it comes to the writing essays. If it comes to the academic writing itself, the most important thing, and actually something which I discovered inside of me, was that throughout doing the research on the specific subjects I was writing an essay for example, searching for some articles, maybe reading some books or whatever, enabled me to develop some kind of a skill of searching for the stuff I really needed at that time. After finishing the degree, I found myself not struggling at all in finding new opportunities for developing myself further. I don't really know why, since we were actually studying online, but I feel like my networking skills actually developed further and further. So I don't know, maybe that's something which would actually be in your case as well. But I hope that even in a small, very small percentage, my whole vlog kind of helped you in a way. This is the whole goal. I feel like if I would want to keep on going, this video would be too long. Let's now jump to the chapter 3. Chapter 3, graduation and what's next. At this moment in time, I have not been to the graduation ceremony yet. I am going to fly to London specifically for that. I cannot actually wait to jump into the gown and shake hands with people. I was actually dreaming of that for many years, and it finally came true. I'm very thankful for that. The biggest skill I developed throughout studying at the University of West London and Academy of Music and Sound was this new kind of skill of searching opportunities, and this school really enabled me to develop more on that kind of subject. Of course, it will vary depending on the person because every one of us is a little bit different. This school really enabled me to think outside of the box and not really be close-minded. Since we're coming to an end, would I actually recommend going to the Academy of Music and Sound or the University of West London? From the bottom of my heart, I would really recommend you to go there and to study at the University of West London and or Academy of Music and Sound. Both of these schools I found really brilliant. The school actually exceeded my expectations. So if you're wondering whether or not this might be a school for you, there is a place for every one of us there. No one really has to feel excluded in any way. No matter where you're coming from, what your background is, what your beliefs are, what you're struggling with, in my opinion, it's the place to go. Thank you very much everyone for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and also like the video. It will really help me. If you also know somebody that is thinking about applying to the University of West London or maybe Academy of Music and Sound, please feel free to share this video to this person. You can check out my other videos. I recently made a charity video where I renovated a pair of studio monitors. It wasn't these ones. I've actually found some used and very beaten up studio monitors which I renovated. I've actually repainted them, done the whole paintwork from scratch and placed them on a charity bid. 100% of the gains were actually given to a small kid that struggled with some health issues and needed some help. Thank you very much for watching once again. See you in the next video. Bye bye.